Well, hello. Welcome to Off Air Talks. I'm Ciara Yaschuk.
And I am Lisa MacGregor, and it is a big episode today.
It really is. Not only are we in our new space, it's taken quite some time. I'm actually kind of sweating from the lights. I don't know if I'm nervous or what's going on, but what about you, Lisa? How you feeling?
I mean, it's been interesting. There's always something goes wrong to start, but that's par for the course with what we do, and it takes the edge off a little. And luckily, we're joined by someone really special today that is easygoing enough to manage the issues that come about. So it's a really special episode.
It really is. So Caroline Salame is joining us today.
Welcome.
Hello, Caroline.
Hi, girls. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so honored to be here. So thank you for having me.
Oh, we are honored to have you.
Yes.
You have built up an incredible name for yourself.
Thank
You are a football broadcaster, and you did this all on your own, or digital creator, I guess.
Yeah.
And you have built something absolutely incredible. So tell us a little bit your story for people who have no idea what you do.
Well, thank you for the kindest words. Really, it means so much. Little bit about me. Always grew up in the soccer football world. Started playing when I was 10, fell in love with it. And then by the time I was 14, made my way to the provincial and national program, the youth national team. And then 16 years old, I went to the first ever U17 World Cup. So that was really cool.
And this is out east, right?
Yeah, in Toronto. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in Ontario. So went to a World Cup, played for Canada. From there, received a full scholarship to the U.S. So spent the next few years of my life in the U.S. playing Division I collegiate soccer, football. And it was incredible. During that time, there was so much growth and, you're a student athlete, right? So you're playing the sport while managing a full course load. I ended up having 3 knee injuries, so had to get surgery. On the third one, my surgeon told me I could never play anymore.
Wow.
That was really tough for me because my whole life up until that moment was soccer, was football. It's all I cared about. I was actually laser focused, obsessed with it. So that was a huge identity loss for me. But in that moment, I was like, okay, well, how can I somehow stay in soccer? How can I somehow stay in sports? And I was like, I'm going to get my master's in journalism, and I'm going to be on television one day talking about it. And that ended up happening when I moved back to Ontario. I first and foremost had a job at CBC Sports and CBC Olympics, and I was kind of behind the camera doing all their social media stuff, which was great because you learn so much, right?
Totally.
Behind
Especially for the public broadcaster.
Yes, and I always tell people going into our industry, learn as much as you can. Even if you want to be on camera, learn how to edit, learn how to do social media, because now, as we all know, sitting in this room, to be a jack of all trades is the biggest power move you can have, because now we're in a position where we're doing all of that on our own, right? So I always say, just because you want to be on TV or you want to be on camera, it doesn't need to be the first thing that you do. There's always that journey, and that's super powerful in itself. Then I got a job at TFC being their digital host, which was huge because my dad and I have been Toronto FC fans since the first season.
Yeah.
So that was incredible. The year I was there, they won the treble. It was just epic. And then from that first season with them, I got scooped up by Sportsnet, and I became their Plays and Misplays of the Month host, as well as WWE's Aftermath.
I remember that. I
you
remember
did a
watching you
phenomenal
on there.
job.
You did.
Awesome
Thank
job.
you. You
Yeah.
guys are so
Yeah.
sweet. It was a great time. And then COVID hit, and I was like, you know what? This is no longer, it doesn't align with me. The role doesn't align with me anymore. I'm super grateful for the time that I had, for everything that I learned. Ended up quitting Sportsnet, and I was like, now's the time. TikTok just started coming out, and it was TikTok was kind of the thing where you do your dance and
Right.
TikTok at the
You
beginning.
were ahead of your time.
Thank you.
Really?
Thank you. But I was like, I'm not a dancer. So I was like, I don't want to, honest to God, if anything, I'd go viral for being cringe. So I was like, I love football, and why don't I do what I was doing in the studio at Sportsnet in my house on my phone?
Yeah.
And thankfully my platforms took off. And
Wait, did you start that at your home in Toronto?
yes, no, I at that point during all this,
Yeah.
I decided to move to Edmonton.
Okay.
So, but yes, everything started from my house.
But you were also pretty active still on social media when you were
at Sportsnet?
Yes.
Yes. And
Because
that's
you had, I just remember because
Yes.
Kashi. It was,
And that's a great observation, because actually a reason why Sportsnet found me, someone told me within the network that there was this video that I posted. I did this interview with Toronto FC, and the wind was blowing like crazy, okay? My hair was going everywhere. Like I could barely, like it was like in my mouth, and I'm just like trying to do the interview. And then at some point I just kind of was like, whoa, right? Like, I don't know, it was a funny video, and I posted it. And I think because I was making kind of like a lighthearted joke about myself and the situation, and that, hey, not every single thing is perfect, or not every single person behind a screen is perfect, that kind of caught their attention with my personality.
Wow.
And I always credit social media, and I'm always telling people you have to put your personality out there.
Yeah.
Even in a very saturated market, there's only one you when it comes to your authentic self. Yes. And I think that's like the biggest superpower you can have.
Lisa
is that
tries to drive that home with me all the time.
Yeah, she always wants to repeat TikToks or something, and I'm like, no, authentic. I hate when you're. It's again, it's when it's original and yourself that shines through, and people see through copycats.
100%. And like right now we're on a podcast. There's a billion podcasts out today, but what makes you guys special is that you're doing it in your authentic tone and voice, and you each have your own specific journeys, and you know, the moral compass that drives you to do this every single day and put out every single episode, and that's going to be very different than the competitors, right?
Absolutely.
So I just always think that that's so important, and social media gives us that platform to let people who have no idea who we are across the world get a little glimpse into how we are, how we function, our thoughts. And doing TikTok and then Instagram and YouTube and putting my football opinions out there, I went from a world where naturally you're on television, you can't say certain things,
right,
to now being on my phone, and if I want to, you know, say, oh my gosh, that ref effing sucked, you know, I'm allowed to say that, right? And it became this whole like, I started to just really get comfortable in my own voice, and it took off, and I'm so grateful. And that just, again, it goes into that storytelling aspect of authenticity, that when you find your voice and you start to get that confidence in it, it just starts coming out. Next thing you know, you're in a world where you didn't expect yourself to be in a few years ago. That's kind of where I am now, is a business owner and
your own boss,
my own boss. And that's the greatest gift.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What was the biggest surprise for you? I mean, you're putting out these videos. I'm sure you're just so not shocked, but shocked at, wow, people really like this, and I'm going to keep doing that. What was the biggest surprise, you think, when you really started to feel comfortable and take off?
Yeah. First and foremost was like, wow, people, even if they disagree with me or they agree with me, my videos are getting millions of views and thousands of comments, and people want to engage with me, and I'm getting DMs of like, your opinion sucks, but I'm like, whoa, like they're listening, you know? Or you know, I took 3 months off when I had our son, and people were messaging me like, are you okay? Are you alive? Like, what's your take on this? You know, and I'm like, wow, people want to know my thoughts. And I'm like, this is just such a cool thing that I built. I think for me, the thing I have the most gratitude towards is the community that I've built, and the people that have followed me, even from Toronto FC days, from CBC days, and have stuck with me, and just this amazing community. Because I always say, you know, there are tons of sports fans out there, but football fans, soccer fans are, I have to say, the craziest.
They're unlike anything.
They're wild.
They are the craziest, most passionate, most loyal fans. And I've just built such a beautiful community of them. And then you go on to the financial side of things, you know, your first brand deal, your first traveling opportunity, your first opportunity where you're interviewing like really, really cool individuals. And you come out of, you know, the place that I worked at, the network that I worked at, thinking that's the only way I can do these things, because you're like, okay, well, who else is going to give me this ability and this opportunity, to then being on your own. And there was a good year where I had no idea what I was going to do, to then being in this position like, oh my goodness, I did this by myself. Like I took
the risk.
Yeah, I took the risk. And now these opportunities that are coming to me, I don't know if anyone else could have got them for me but me. Yeah. And that's where I hold my power. And I always hold it with gratitude, and I always hold it with humility. But I also am now like, it's okay to be confident. It's okay to be like, wow, I did that. And I think it's important to kind of get that message out there, because you don't have to be on television for a network to get your face out there to create a successful brand.
Absolutely.
It can be right here in this room.
Yeah.
Especially when, you know, we think Ciara and I come from similar backgrounds, obviously, and just the fact that you went out on your own and you're earning your own money, and you don't have to be under somebody else's umbrella who are essentially making money off of you and then limiting your salary, limiting you in so many ways when it's you that is providing something. So, I mean, that must have been so empowering and just almost like I don't know, I mean, I'm sure you had great times at the station, but that must be amazing.
And as a result now, I mean, congratulations. You are covering World Cup. Like that is, I'm sure, a huge, you said 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
This was one of your main goals. So talk to us a little bit about where you started. Did you sit down, kind of write out your goals? This is where I plan to be. And then now where you are today.
Great question. All of these are great questions. Such a good conversation. Thank you guys. I remember when I first quit Sportsnet, I was this first time in my life being like, I'd never had a what's next. There's always been something in my life. Like even when I had my knee injury, I'm like, boom, I'm going to get my master's. There's always this massive goal for me to achieve. And then I dive fully into it and immerse myself into it. And this was the first moment in my entire life where I had to sit with being uncomfortable. And like I told you, it was like a 9-month to 12-month period of just being like,
what's next?
Yeah. And I'm not good with that. Like, I'm such a perfectionist. I'm so type A. I was stressing, and I really needed to sit in that uncomfortable space to really like also sit with the things that I didn't like about the previous role that I had, things that I want to change about myself internally. You know what I mean? Like, it was just this massive evolution of self. And then I was like, just because I'm not in the studio doesn't mean I can't do these things. And I started, just setting up my phone at my at our kitchen table and covering news. And the way I first started doing it was like super structured and perfect, and then I'd take it to the computer and edit it. But the thing is with
the TV days.
Exactly. But with sports, it's like if you're even an hour late delivering news, it's old news. You know what I mean?
Somebody else
Like,
has covered it.
Exactly.
Yep.
So then I was like, okay, like there's a green screen function on TikTok. There's a filter. Let me screenshot some images. And instead of going to my desk and doing it so perfectly, let's just be the first one to get it out. And that's when my content started taking off.
Wow.
And then that's where I was like, okay, I have like this amazing like concept that I'm doing, and Mike was actually the one who was like, whatever you're doing on TikTok, start posting on Instagram. My husband's Mike. And I was like, are you sure? Like, my TikTok right now is like, my Instagram is so aesthetic, and I don't know if it's a big soccer football community. And he's like, no, like, build Instagram. And he's right, because from there that started taking off. And then in this past year I started really focusing on YouTube as well, and it's just become a content hub. And I always say my social media starts off as just this highlight reel almost of what you're doing day to day. And there are parts of my life and moments of my life where I do that, but it's the way I look at it and the way I treat it as a business. Yeah. It's my business.
That is very good advice, because I am very much like that too. Like, oh, I don't want to post this. It doesn't look perfect enough, but you just have to let that go in order to grow yourself.
People don't want to see that anymore.
They don't. They just want
real.
Yeah.
And there are times where soccer news happens and it's like first thing in the morning, like 5 a.m. And I'm like, we look
hair's in a ponytail. You have a child. You're like,
like, whoa, I've seen better days. But I've conditioned myself where it's like, no, people aren't following you for beauty. People are following you to get the news out or to get your opinion. So again, it's been reconditioning all of these perfectionist characteristics that I've had to just now go into business mode. And I carry a selfie light with me, a little mic with me everywhere I go, because at any moment in time, I'm ready to, like, if Ronaldo retires tomorrow, I pray to God that doesn't happen. I'm ready to cover it.
You would be devastated. What would happen?
I'd be crying.
You'd be crying.
I'd be like, guys, we have to pause this.
Like walking down downtown, you're like, well, we got these news to report.
Probably. But that's, the extent that I've taken it to, that it's, you got to just be comfortable in your voice. Yeah. And that's what I've gained in all of this.
On that note, when you talk about all the characteristics you develop from television, being the perfectionist, we all know that, where you're trained from school to every time you do a show that you have to be perfect, or people like when it's smooth, don't be yourself, or there's so many things that you kind of develop for better or worse from being in TV. What are some things that you really picked up when you used to work at Sportsnet that you wanted to get rid of, or that environment?
Big time. And I think I've had this my whole life. I'm such a high achiever. I'm sure you guys can relate. Everything has to be perfect. But I think when you go on television and you realize how many people are watching you, and you're kind of made to be this perfect aesthetic being, right? Like everyone is, where you have wardrobe and makeup and hair and everything, and you want to look perfect because your segment is going to be the first thing that they see coming out of a Blue Jays game or a Maple Leafs playoff game, right? So you can have 500,000 people watching you. So you want to look good, feel good, play good, talk good, whatever, the whole thing. And there were certain things that you just get into this world where I would watch myself after and be like, well, this could have been better. And I don't like the way I smiled here or talked here, or my mouth does a funny thing here, and my hair looks better curly than straight, and I don't like this dress. And you start to become worried about the wrong things. And that's why this evolution even of me now, where I'll post a TikTok and let's say I'm in like sweats, and again, it's first thing in the morning, taking care of my son, but I got to get this news out. I'll look at that sometimes and be like, oh, like, you know, I don't love how I look, but then I have to let it go, because it's not about that. Like my page for me is again, my voice and finding confidence in that. And of course, for me personally, I love to look beautiful and dress well and be done up, but the reality is I don't look like that 24/7.
Yeah.
And my audience isn't for that. So those are some things I've really had to detox, and it's helped. It's helped me even gain more confidence in my voice and my knowledge as a football content creator, because I just focus on what I'm saying as opposed to
and what matters. Like at the end of the day, those things really shouldn't matter. But also what matters is you've got a great support system, and you moved to Edmonton because of that support system.
My husband.
So yes.
Give us
Physio
the love story
Mike.
lowdown.
Give us the love story.
Yeah, Physio Mike. Shout out Physio Mike. He's
Movenetics all the way.
He owns Movenetics. So if anyone listening in the Alberta area, honestly, wherever you are, he owns his own business. It's incredible. It's an entire wellness center, and he is just the best at what he does. I'm not even just saying that because I'm married to him, but I swear he's a healer on a deeper level. I swear, like, this man can touch your knee and you'll feel better. Like, I swear, like, in a past life, he was just the world's biggest healer. But yeah, we met. So in 2019, I was in a really bad car accident, and I was still at Sportsnet. And essentially this big, like, what's smaller than a truck but bigger than like a moving van, it was kind of in between. I got hit off of a highway going up north because I was invited to go to this Forbes conference to speak at. So I was going there, and then about an hour out, I got hit off the road by this van truck. Wow. And then my car flew off the road and into trees, and you know, everyone's like, you're lucky to be alive. And if it was this much more to the right, you would have been dead on impact. And you start hearing all these things, right? I get out of my car. I don't have a scratch on my body.
Wow.
My whole car is totaled. All my airbags are out. And again, I blacked out. I don't remember anything, but I don't have a scratch on my face, nothing from the seatbelt. Like it was just a miracle that I made it out. And that affected me a lot, but I didn't really deal with it right away. But anyways, COVID started to come around. And you remember at the beginning of COVID, you couldn't go anywhere. There was no like doctor's visits, nothing. You were quarantined. So I remember reaching out to my followers. I'm like, I have a really bad neck pain. Like, does anyone have anything that they can suggest to help me? And Mike, who just started Instagram, and his name's physio_Mike, sent me a message. He's like, hey, why do you have neck pain? Like, maybe I can help. I'm like, ooh, a physio. And again, there wasn't a lot of pictures of him, but
there was like, enough.
But there was like, he seems friendly and he's good looking, and he didn't send like a weird message, you know, like it was just like very professional.
Or like a selfie to kick things off.
Oh, right? Unsolicited, no bueno.
So then I answered him, and then from that night on, we talked every single night. It was like nothing I ever experienced, and we hit it off, and within 8 months we were engaged. And then we were deciding, do we want to live in Ontario? Do we want to live in Alberta? I fell in love with Alberta, and I decided to move here. So yeah, move here, for everyone who doesn't know, is Edmonton. And I love Edmonton. Everyone always tell us how you really feel as a Torontonian living in Edmonton, and I love it here. I'll never leave Alberta. So
I love how you fell in love too. When you first moved here, again, I followed you on social for so long, and you're like, I hadn't moved to Edmonton yet. I was still in Saskatoon. Seeing, I love Edmonton, even the cold. And then Since then too, Mike has expanded. He now has his own clinic. You've expanded. You have your own studio in the basement. So do you kind of just feel like this is where you were supposed to end up?
And it's funny because when I worked at Sportsnet, I always was being flown out to Edmonton to do stuff with the Oilers or do some type of commercial in Edmonton.
Wow.
To the point where people were like, what did you do that you are constantly being sent off to like Deadmonton is what they call it. Like, did you stop that you're being sent to Deadmonton? I'm like, I actually really like it. And I don't know what it was, but it just, nothing bad came out of my mouth ever about Edmonton or even the Oilers. I was just like, cool. And I even called it Schvedmonton, like my maiden name Schved. So I'm like, Schvedmonton, like it just is perfect.
I love it.
And probably because my soul knew that my future husband lives here. And I will never look back. Now my parents live in Alberta, and this is home
they moved
for us.
here.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So the whole crew, aside from my brother and his family, are here in Edmonton, and we love it. And Mike and I really lean on each other. Like I always say, we mirror each other. We're the exact same person, and he has big lofty goals that I support, and vice versa. And we always just say now, like adding to our family because we have a son. I always say that the best part about us is just we're a well-oiled machine. You know, when he's in the thick of it with Movenetics and treating, you know, high-level athletes and going on travel trips to treat these athletes, I'm holding down the fort. And then when it's my turn to travel and work with these brands that I'm working with and go to Toronto and go to California, he's holding down the fort for me. So it's just teamwork.
Yeah. So you're a mom.
Yes.
How old is your son, and how has this totally changed you? Is it everything you thought it would be, or just crazy?
So I have a son. He is incredible. He's 2 years old. He just turned 2. And motherhood has been the most rewarding chapter of my life. I always wanted to have a family. Didn't know what that looked like until I met Mike. And once I met Mike, I'm like, okay, I can't wait to have kids with you and build a family and all the things. Prior to having kids, I had no idea, obviously, what having kids entailed, because you don't know what anything's like until you're in the driver's seat of that chapter of your life. And I remember getting an opportunity to host a show for a network in the US. It was in New York, and they wanted me to host it 2 to 3 times a week. So they're like, we'll fly you out, stay in New York, host this football show, and then go back. And I'm thinking like, okay, 3 months postpartum, like I can do that. Like, no problem. Like, I'm, you know, like old Caroline, you know, where my responsibility was me, my husband, and like I'd watch a 2-season show in one day on Netflix and like not move. Like Mike would be like, Mike's looking at me, he's like, how the hell do you do that? I'm like, listen, this is like, I love this stuff. So that was, you know, prior to having kids. So you know, like you hear of the things like life's going to be busy and whatnot, but you just don't really know. And so when I had our son, I remember being 3 months postpartum, like, there's no way. Like, not only is there no way, I don't want to leave my son. Like, I'm so attached to him. He's my whole world. He's only 3 months. I don't want to get on a plane and pump and leave him. And then I also don't really care to talk about football right now. Like, that's also a massive reality check that I had for myself. There was a 3-month period where I didn't want to watch. I didn't want to talk. You're going through all of the things of hormones and postpartum and, you know, mentally and physically and emotionally dealing, you know, with like the hardships of labor. And then you have this beautiful brand new baby that you don't want to leave, right? So there was this massive identity shift of, okay, now I'm no longer old Caroline. I'm still Caroline, but it's a newer version of me. I know I still want to obviously continue my business and talking about football, but how does this look now as a mother? And thank God for my mom. My mom's my best friend in this whole world. She really was like, you need to be gentle with yourself. Like, she's like, a few months from now, it's going to be better. Like, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, at the beginning, you're so sleep deprived. You're not sleeping at all. And you're trying to learn how to feed and pump. And it's just a whole thing. You have a new body, you know, like you're just trying to like navigate everything. And I really tell people that, you know, we're 2 years out now from having our son. I'm really just feeling like myself now, like physically in my old body, you know, normally I think hormonally. Now is just the time where I feel like I'm who I was energetically 2 years ago, but you need to give yourself that grace period, because motherhood, as beautiful as it is and as incredible as it is, and hopefully God blesses us with more children, there is a lot of grace women have to give themselves, especially when they have these unbelievable goals and all the things that they want to do. There is a period of time where you have to just slow down and let yourself be, because life's changed in the best way, but it's changed.
Did you find, or do you still find, that there's so many women on social media that might have a child and pop back a week later? They're out doing things, they're at the gym, they're taking their kid to work, and are you just like, how?
Yeah.
Or how do you not compare yourself, I guess?
Big
I feel
time.
like a lot of women will look and be like, how am I not there?
Yeah.
Why am I not there?
That's great. It's a great point. And I really leaned on my mom with this, because I'm like, how is this woman, like, she just had a newborn and she's posting like newborn videos with timestamps. I said, I'm just trying to like remember to brush my teeth by 2 p.m. And this is someone who's like crazy. I'm like, I always said I wanted to be an orthodontist when I was little because I'm crazy about teeth. And like, now I'm like, holy shit, did I brush my teeth? Like, it's 2 p.m. You just don't, because your mornings are so crazy when you have a newborn, right? So I'd see these women doing that, and all the power to them. And everyone's postpartum journey is different. So maybe their postpartum journey looks different than mine. But as a first-time mom, I feel like I was just like head underwater for a little bit, and postpartum hit me hard. And my mom was like, you can't compare yourself to what you see online. Like, what you're going through is very, very normal. People don't often show the hard times, the tough times. Even with me, there are things that people might see my videos and, wow, she's so passionate in this take, but it's actually a really difficult day for me outside of my football videos, right? So social media is just a big highlight reel, and it's beautiful and it's cool and it's inspiring. And I love social media because I think it's powerful, but at the same time, it's not always reality. My mom really helped me navigate that. So to any moms listening, or to anyone who wants to have kids one day, it's important to find a good community to lean on. I always say, have a couple of friends who have been through the pregnancy stage, the postpartum stage, because it's an identity shift. And like I said, as beautiful as it is, it's also now navigating your new life. And that can feel like a lot sometimes.
I know one more thing, I'm curious. I think a lot of people would be curious to know, when you mention community and like having a strong support system, you found such a great partner. What would you say to women if, they're wanting to have a lot of things that you have, and maybe they're struggling, or they're maybe not right with the right person, how important it is to choose the right partner?
I think the most important thing someone can do in their life is find the right person.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, and I get chills saying that. Love you, Physio Mike. I think a person can make or break you. And I'm not saying that all the power goes into that person, but when you talk about marriage and a commitment, and then you have a child with someone else, your whole world changes, right? So you need to make sure you're marrying, or you're getting into a commitment with someone that betters you, that you can trust, that empowers you, that supports you, all of the things, because life is beautiful most of the time, hopefully, but there are times where things can take a turn, right? And you want to make sure that you're with someone that even on those days lifts you up, helps you get back on track, that you can share your worst and best days with, but also can sit on a couch with you and watch TV or read books or just be, right? Mike and I always say, people might call it codependence. I call it, I found my best friend, where I just want to do everything with him. Like, even when I'm traveling on a trip and I'm eating something, I'm like, oh, it's not the same. Like, I want Mike to be here to enjoy this with me, so he can see how good this is. You know what I mean? Like, finding the right person is the most important thing you'll do in this life. And then when you have kids, or if you decide to have kids, you really see it then, because you and your partner really, you create life, which is at the deepest level the most incredible thing.
Yes. Every day. Yes. Right?
Yes. Because you're both sleep deprived. Everything's changed. Yeah. Again, for the best way, but again, change. Mike, right when we had our son, just opened up Movenetics. So he just opened up his business. It was a lot on his plate. I'm freshly postpartum. I'm trying to learn how to pump. What the hell is pumping? Like, how do you store milk in a fridge? I'm like stressing because I'm like trying to give my son the best of the best. And, it's just navigating all of these things. But then at the end of the day, you have your partner that comes home, or you come home to, and you laugh about it, or you talk about it, or you cry about it, you let out all the things, all the emotions, and you got your best friend.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important. Like having, obviously marriage and a partner is romantic, but having a best friend in that dynamic is so incredibly important.
Winning the lottery, I would say.
I always tell my friends who haven't found their person yet, I said, never settle. And I say this word for word. I would rather have waited till I was 50 and found Mike at 50 than marry the wrong person at 20. Like, if there's ever anything you want to be 100% sure about, it's the person you're going to be with. Yeah.
It sounds like you also have such a good sense of self, because I think a lot of people, especially when you look at broadcasters, I know when I was coming up, people would say, oh, isn't the goal to go on the national level? Isn't the goal to go to the big city? And while that's great, and a lot of people have done that, did you kind of learn that it's not all it's cracked out to be, and kind of what matters is your own kind of thing? And I mean, what an amazing place you're in now, where you create your own national scale.
It's an amazing question. I remember 2019, you would say, is the peak of my career. I was traveling everywhere, being asked to cover everything, interview everyone, you name it. And I remember walking to work one day, this was before my accident, and I was like, man, I'm really unhappy. Like, I do not align with my lifestyle at all. I don't know what was happening, but I didn't vocalize that because I never wanted to seem ungrateful, because that wasn't the case. I was just like, this is not what I want to do anymore. I was just energetically exhausted. Like, it was just not for me anymore. But how do you have that conversation with someone? Because on paper and like on
It's
social
like, what do you
media,
want
yeah, you have the most amazing life, and I did, right? And I do, but it just energetically, it was very off. And then that car accident, I swear, just was the biggest gut punch to me, because I got out of there and I'm like, I could have died. Realistically, I should have died. And I feel like I had this second chance, and I don't want to live a life that I don't feel aligned with anymore. And so I took this risk, and that car accident ended up being, like I would say, the worst day of my life, but also the best day of my life, because it propelled me into this timeline that I'm in now, where I met my soulmate. I'm a mom. I run my own business. I'm no longer in this box that I feel like a lot of people are put in, like right out of school, you have to be on national television if you want to be this super well-known broadcaster. No, like, you can create that reality yourself, and
anywhere.
Our social media platforms have given us that ability. Like, TikTok's the most powerful app, I believe. Like, I'm on it all the time. If I need to find out anything, we were talking about setting up a studio, I'm on TikTok finding out how people set up at-home studios, because there's just a wealth of knowledge in every area. So it's just kind of navigating the new avenues we've been given in 2026. Like, it's very different than when we started.
Oh, you're evolving as a journalist, and whereas a lot of big media companies are not.
And everybody wants to help each other out. We've had so many struggles along the way, and we've been open with them. And you reach out to people, hey, what type of equipment are you using? What cameras are you using? Behind the scenes, what does it look like? But that's what you have to do, because everybody went from maybe working with a company to now on their own. So we are doing everything on our own. Same as you. When you walk into a studio, you're perfect. Hair, makeup, everything. Everyone does everything behind the scenes.
And it's you guys tell me, it's empowering. I know that there are days where this can be stressful, the whole setup and lighting and camera and audio. But then when you're done and you post that episode, you're like, oh, I did that.
Yeah,
it's
feels
really
good.
cool. It does feel good. And that's what I'm saying. And it doesn't only have to be in the broadcast industry. It can be in whatever you want it to be. It's just having the confidence to know you can do things yourself. And again, I'm privileged because I also come from a world where my husband helps me. My parents are very, very helpful in my son's life. So if there's a day where there's Champions League on and there's 5 football games to cover and a million things are going on, my mom's at the house helping me with our son. And that helps me a ton. Like I always say, I can't do what I'm doing without help of other people. And I'm privileged to have that. But there's also, you know, I want people to know that if you're not satisfied in corporate land or, you know, your day-to-day on television or whatnot, like there's spaces for you to do your own thing. And you might start out not thinking you're going to make any money and very confused and not really understanding how to grow a brand to 5 years or 3 years later being like, wow, I didn't ever expect to be in this position. And that's a really cool reality to be in.
It's so true. And it's such a good reminder that, you know, life is so short. Bet on yourself. Take the risk, and at least you look back and know you tried, however it pans out. And even how what you've built for your life and how happy you are and it radiates, it goes to show that you should always live your life for yourself and not what looks good to others.
Yes.
I think a lot of people do live like, well, I have the nice house and I have this great, and it's all facade, or I have this great job. And it's like, if you're truly not in your core happy, then what's the point?
Yep.
Right.
Big time. And I think that's what my car accident, again, it was a big gut check. I thank God for it a lot, which I know is a weird thing to say because it was very traumatic, but you stop worrying about, of course, money is important and things you want are important and experiences you want are important, and money and to do this, to survive in this day and age, you need money, right? But it's not everything. And again, I was just like, high risk, high reward. I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to work my butt off like I've done in every single chapter of my life, and I'm going to manifest it. And I did. And like, that's everyone's potential. And I'm big on manifesting, like words matter. How you know, I wrote an email to myself, I think a year ago, about pretending to be a company. I didn't name the company. I released all expectations, whatnot. And I said, like, we love your work, whatever. This is our offer. This is what we want to do. And I just sent it to myself and I left it. And then can you believe 1 year to the day, almost, I got that offer from a company, again, that I didn't put in the email.
Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps. Yeah, that is incredible.
I sent that, and then I got that offer, and I showed Mike, and Mike's like, I actually think like you have like a superpower. I said, but we all have that. We all have that. Like really, really,
the
we
healer
do. And
every
single
Lisa,
day,
start sending out those emails.
Right to us, like,
every single day though, like, there are tough days where, of course, you're not in the highest vibration because you're just a human being. But
and you're exhausted.
You're exhausted.
You have a son. You have a life outside of this,
even
too,
if you
right?
don't, right? Like, you're just
sure,
a human being, right? Yeah. But I never, like, I'm always like, it's going to happen. There's no way it doesn't. It's going to happen.
And now 2026, you're headed in. This is probably the biggest year for travel that you're going to have.
Travel, work, World Cup year. So the World Cup's going to be in the US, Canada, and Mexico. So lots already happening, lots in the works. Can't say too much about names because I've had to sign some NDAs, but
for sure,
really cool things coming down the pipe that everyone's going to see. And 3 years ago when I started my channels, I told Mike, I said, I want to build this for when the World Cup comes around. I'm the person. I'm solidified in my industry and solidified in the social space that when people hear of North America or Canadian football, or anything really around football, like, oh, there's Caroline, like, she'd be perfect for this. And
well, you have done that and
you.
more. We are cheering you on all the way.
Mm-hmm. I'm cheering you guys on.
It is so fun to see you grow, especially from, I think I still have a DM, I should find it, from when I was just getting out of school and you were, believe, just starting at Sportsnet, and I was like, I need your advice. How do I get there? So to be having this conversation with you right now is super cool.
Well, that's amazing.
You guys are in right now the driver's seat, and that's why I'm so excited for you, because
you're so sweet.
We all start somewhere, and you guys are in the most exciting part because no one knows what the future holds, and it's kind of good that way, especially for me. I like to know everything that's about to happen.
Right.
But this has taught me, like, release it all and then watch the magic roll in.
And even bigger than you expect.
Big time. And that's like, I get chills saying that. And that for me is always confirmation from the universe that, like, you're really aligned and high vibrational. Not to get too spiritual and deep, but it's a beautiful reminder that, like, this conversation we're having is powerful. And you guys are in such a incredible position because you left your fields, you left, the network, the station you were at, whether it was on your terms or not, doesn't matter. Everything happens for a reason.
We'll get into those details later.
Like, I always say to Ciara, I said, I think I commented on one of your TikToks. I said, obstacles are detours in the right direction. And when you look at it that way, I'm not saying life's easy, and I'm not saying you don't get to have a period of time where you're pissed off and emotional and questioning things. But when you start realizing, like, damn, that happened to me for a big reason. And now I'm in my highest, best timeline, that's when your life takes off.
That is honestly
it's how it feels right
advice.
now. Absolutely.
I can't thank you enough for sharing your story.
Of course. Thank you guys for giving me the platform.
It was such a pleasure talking to you. So much. I mean, we'll have you back for sure. I mean, and
we got to hear what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you'll have so much to tell us by this time next year. Like, that's incredible. So it's been an absolute pleasure just hearing your story, Caroline. So thank you so much for taking this conversation off air.
Thank you. You two are beautiful inside and out. And so I'm just so glad to be here. And thank you guys for giving me the space to share my story.
Anytime. We're happy to have you.
Yes.
That's all for today. I'm Ciara Yaschuk.
And I'm Lisa MacGregor.